going on, guys? Welcome back. The plan for today's video is I'm going to go over why I went with the Nils over the KDrill. I've posted a few videos over the past month about this Ridgid Octane hammer drill in use with the Nils, and it's come up quite a bit both on YouTube, Facebook, a couple other forums I'm on. So the plan for this video is I'm going to go over pretty much the top 3 reasons why I went with the Nils over the KDrill. And I want to start off by saying, before I get into my reasons why I went with the Nils, I'm not knocking the KDrill. I'm not saying the KDrill is a bad drill. I'm not saying the KDrill is junk. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it. If you're watching this video and you're deciding between the two, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy the KDrill. What I'm saying is you should just, buy whichever one works for your needs, is basically what I'm getting at. So reason number 1 with the Nils, why I went with this 4 years ago, is I didn't want to be married to a drill. I had bought this primarily as a hand auger. As you can see, this is how the drill came, and out of the box this thing cut like a dream. Still to this day, 4 years later, it still cuts like a dream. I've used this heavily. On the conservative side, I'm probably 500 holes in, and this thing still cuts like a beast. So that's reason number 1. I didn't want to be married to a drill. I knew eventually I'd probably pick a drill up, but I didn't want to be married to one. And that kind of dovetails into number 2. Again, I looked heavily at the KDrill, and back then the KDrill was $250. I didn't have a big beefy drill to use it with, so I would have had to spend another $250. So there's $500. Some people use them clam plates. That's another 100 or so, plus or minus. So if I would have went out, bought the KDrill, a beefy hand drill, whether I bought the clam plate or not, I would have been into it 500 minimum, and I just didn't want to spend that much. I would have just went out and bought one of the more early stage electric augers. The Ion was just starting to come out, and that's kind of where the market was heading towards. So reason number 2 is I didn't want to dump all that money into a household drill setup. And reason number 3 was the research I did between the KDrill and the Nils. If you did use both with a drill, is the Nils got more holes per charge because it has more of these straight shaver style blades, whereas the KDrill has the real aggressive, I think they call them chipper blades or ripper blades, one or the other, chipper or ripper, I can't remember what they call them, but you're not going to get as many holes per charge with a KDrill. So that also was a factor I looked at. So one other thing I want to touch on with a KDrill, I didn't know it at the time, but I've learned it now through some forum talk, is the 8-inch KDrill isn't actually an 8-inch, it's 7.5, which to me that would have been even more of a reason to not go the KDrill route. I don't know why they advertise it as an 8. In my opinion, it should either be advertised as 7.5 or just make an 8-inch auger and call it an 8-inch. Not call a 7.5-inch auger, an 8. So that would have really bugged me. If I would have bought an 8-inch KDrill, got it, and it was only a 7.5-inch hole. I know it doesn't make a big difference, but I fish for pike up here, and we're probably sitting on 25 inches of ice right now. And so that's something else you want to be aware of with the KDrill. If you're looking at the 8, it's going to be an actual 7.5-inch cut. The 6-inch, as far as I know, is a true 6-inch. All right, so what we're going to do now, I haven't actually drilled a hole yet, but we should be right around 24 inches of ice. So I'm going to drill a hole by hand, show you guys how much we have. Then I'm going to hook the drill up and show you how this thing cuts with a drill. There we go. All right, so maybe a little less. We're about 22, so a little less than I was thinking. So now I'll put the drill on and show you how it works with the drill. All right, so this is with the drill. So there you go, there's 2 holes, one by hand, one with a drill. If you guys have a question about the drill, I've done now 3 review videos. I'll put the links in the description. You guys can see my initial, my mid-season, and a video of me cutting through 25 inches of ice. So if you're wondering about this drill, you guys can check out the other 3 videos. Now, a few downfalls with the Nils. You know, I mentioned the good things that I was looking for. Some of the things that I really looked heavily into. The Nils, they recommend you ship them out of state to a guy. I think he's in Minnesota. I can't remember where he's from. His name's Frank DeLuca. I'll put his name up on the screen. But you have to ship them out to him to have them professionally sharpened. I personally have never done that. This is 4 years old again, and I've never had it professionally sharpened. I do hone this blade myself, and it still cuts pretty good. So that was a downfall. You know, I was kind of nervous about having to send that out. Like if you run this thing in the bottom, if you hit a rock, if you're in real dirty ice, you got to be careful with the Nils, because once that edge starts to go, you should have it professionally sharpened. The whole auger head to this, I'll rotate this. You can see the wing nut there. You take that wing nut off, and this whole head pops off. If you want to buy another one of these, it's $100. So that is one benefit that the KDrill had over the Nils, is the replacement blade. I think for the KDrill back then was plus or minus 50, 60 bucks. I didn't check before I'm doing this review, but I think it's probably right around that. A benefit to the KDrill at the time is they had free lifetime sharpening of your blade. You still had to send them out. They sharpened them, send them back. So some people were either buying 2 sets so they could leapfrog them, or people would use them for a season, send them out at the end of the season, have them sharpened in the spring, and they'd be good to go. So that is one benefit to the KDrill. Another benefit to the KDrill, it's plus or minus half the weight of the Nils. The Nils is right around 10 pounds, you know, plus or minus. The KDrill racks in, I think, right around 5. This Nils is all steel, with the exception of the plastic handles. Everything on this is steel. That's why you have about an extra 5 pounds. The KDrill, I can't remember what they call them. Whatever the auger parts are, they call them flight discs or flight rings, something like that. That's made of like a plastic composite material. I'm pretty sure it's an aluminum shaft. That's why they were able to cut the weight down. But I've never used a KDrill. I mean, obviously, the KDrill has a cult following. I mean, everywhere you go, every forum, every Facebook post, every YouTube video, you know, somebody either has a KDrill or is mentioning a KDrill or is supporting a KDrill. And again, I'm not knocking a KDrill. I'm not saying they're a bad option to go with. It just didn't meet my needs as a fisherman for what I wanted. One other benefit of the KDrill that I forgot to mention is you can drill side-by-side holes. So you can kind of drill in a triangle. So if you're looking at a KDrill, you know, that is a bonus. You know, you can do the overlapping holes. So I mean, you can, you know, expand that 7.5-inch hole to a little bigger if you drill 3 in a triangle. I just want to finish off real quick talking about why I went with a power drill route with this Nils, and it's because I got into jigging last year with a flasher. I didn't do that years prior, and just hopping around so many holes, you know, 10, 15, 20 holes, you know, in a 4-hour time frame. You know, we ended the season last season with about 32 inches of ice, and you know, drilling 10 plus holes with a hand auger just got to be exhausting. You know, even as good as this thing cut, it still got to be tiring. So that's why I got the drill, is for late season use with the Nils. I don't want to have to run my my Strike Master around just popping holes, jigging for a little perch. So that pretty much sums up why I went with a drill. And again, going back to my #1 reason, I'm still not married to that drill. You know, I can use that drill once a season or never, you know, throughout a season if I want to. So I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to, you know, why I went with the Nils. Just to summarize with the Nils, I love this thing. I have nothing but good things to say about this. There's not one thing I can say I don't like about it. People ask all the time, you know, what are the downfalls of this drill? And I honestly can't find one. But that pretty much summarizes it, guys. You know, them are the main reasons why I went with the Nils. Just some real basic benefits of both, you know, both the KDrill and the Nils. Again, not knocking the KDrill. It just didn't meet my needs as an ice fisherman. So if you guys have any questions about the Nils, feel free to ask. If you have a Nils, if you have a KDrill, and you want to leave a comment down in the comment section, feel free to do that. But we're going to sign off for this one, guys, and we'll see you soon.